Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
How dare you?
No, Greta. How dare you?
How dare you?
Well. Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Ben.
And yes, before you say anything, I still do have my Christmas decorations up. I know, right? I know, because I knew you was going to bring it up. So I thought I'd just get that out the way with right now. In fact, there's one gone. There you go.
Okay.
There you go. I'll get round to it. Now the cat ears are back. Look. Meow. Meow. How are you, John, anyway?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Good. Been up to much?
Making slides.
Making slides. I have been. I've produced, hopefully, a working show today. We've got a brand new internet connection. Well, same connection set up via a different method in the studio here. I fixed my guitar's connections and all of that, so I might do another music show on Saturday night if everything holds firm. But otherwise, yeah, everything's good here. I've been busy. Had a bath.
And with that, I'd like to offer a disclaimer. Should the show go down, we will return.
We will.
You would have to bear with us for approximately 5 minutes.
Yep.
If the show goes down, Ben will not be streaming again.
John will become the producer for the time being, until such a time that I can afford a new internet connection for this.
So we'd just like to say to our audience that we do care about you.
We do.
We don't like the fact that the show has started going down after an hour.
We don't.
We suspect it must be something to do with Ben's provider. Therefore, it shall either work or it will be replaced.
Exactly. So we're doing what we can do. We're now using a wired connection rather than a wireless connection. Hopefully that does make a difference. We shall see.
I'm not confident.
I'm quietly confident.
Yeah, okay.
That could come back to bite me in the arse, absolutely. But I've also had a shave, and now you can see my double chins again. Maybe that was maybe that was not the good thing to do.
More chins than a Chinese phone book.
Indeed, indeed. Trudy says, "We know you do. It's not your fault." Exactly, it's not our fault.
Well, it kind of is.
Well, no, because
we've let it carry on too much.
But then again, as with many things and many people in life, what we are ultimately doing is relying on technology, and this is why we can't move to an automated world, right? Because technology fails. Technology is not reliable. It is not consistent. It's not going to keep working time in, time out. You can't move to an automated world. And little things like this.
They're trying though, aren't they? I mean, look at that.
Of course they are.
Look at that chat GPT. That is a bag of shite, right? I mean, people think it's fantastic. It's not. It's repetitive and boring. But they're banning it in schools because the kids are using it to write their homework.
Oh, brilliant.
So.
See that right there, kids? That's called innovation. That's called beating the system.
You see, no, it's not beating the system. The problem is, if you've tried to use, if you've ever looked at ChatGPT,
I haven't.
If you put in the same question all the time, it comes up with the same answers all the fucking time. I mean, you can ask it to reword it, right? But it always starts with the same answers. And kids being kids, right?
Well, that's not AI then, is it?
What? It's not. It's never AI. There is no AI. AI does not exist.
That's definitely not AI. That's not
it's
AI.
Not. I mean, look at that Tesla Model Y that drove off a cliff the other day, right?
Yeah.
So it said, what was it? It said the two adults had minor injuries and the kids in the back were unharmed. 250-foot drop down a cliff, right? Which is pretty impressive.
Pretty fucking impressive, yeah.
But I'd like to know, how the fuck did it get down? How did it drive off the road anyway? See if this turns out to be the fucking software.
I'll tell you what it is. Do you remember? Of course you remember Knight Rider, right?
Yeah.
Right, so Kit's gone bad. That's what's happened here.
Yeah.
Kit's just gone, I don't think so, Michael. I'm just going to drive you off that cliff now.
Yeah, or one of the kids in the back's going, turn right, Clyde. Wow. So I'd be interested to see what happens there, because I'd like to know why the car ended up going down a 250-foot cliff. Because people don't drive off cliffs normally.
That's true.
That's true.
There you go.
So it never mentioned the circumstances of which it had ended up at the bottom of the cliff. It just said it was there. Anyway, this preamble's getting long.
Well, we haven't even got to the crux of the preamble yet, but we can sort of tie this all together quite nicely, I'd say, because it all falls into the topic of insanity, right? Mm-hmm. And we're looking at the insanity rising, ladies and gentlemen. We are looking at what our government is once again telling us, what our media is once again telling us, and they're telling us it's time to start muzzling on the public transport again.
And look at the Angelica's tweet. It looks like the government are not keen to stop the spread of COVID from China again. No quarantine, no restrictions put in place, just like March 2020. Now it's nothing like March 2020. Because in March 2020, even though the whole thing was blown out of all proportion, right? Yeah. Nobody knew, right? Nobody really knew. I mean, scientifically, medically, nobody really knew what the consequences were going to be. I mean, many of us suspected that it was an LOS event, and it turned out to be an LOS event. But nobody really knew, I suppose, and you could give a little bit of leeway, but now you can't, because now you're just reacting to something that we said 2 years ago we had to learn to live with. When are we going to start learning?
I mean, Natasha says it right there in the chat, Diamond Bloody Princess.
Well, that told you everything you need to know, but that wasn't in March. That was, what, April, May, something like that?
Yeah, I know, but that probably to this date is still the most comprehensive study about how it would spread through a vulnerable population, because most of the people on that cruise ship were elderly, right?
Yeah, and 70% of them were fine.
Yeah, well, yeah. You're absolutely right, and that's...
Oh, come on, Vaughan.
That's been evident right? That has been absolute. Come on, let him know what you mean, John. Come on, tell him.
For fuck's sake, Vaughn, load off excrement.
Exactly. And with that, John, introduce today's little rendezvous, shall we say?
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to this episode 184 of Dissent Live with me, your host John, and Ben, your other host.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars. Crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre.
Gets you bopping a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gets you bopping a little bit. I think you've done a stellar job there, John. I did say something to him at the end of yesterday's show, though. What did I say to you, John?
You said the outro needs to be longer.
It does.
Yeah, well, that'll be a work in progress because I might extend it, but yeah. I'm going to need a lot more material.
DIY dentistry update before we get into this. It's holding.
Well done.
For the time being.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say about that. And good afternoon over on Twitch as well, on Rumble, on YouTube, and on Twitter. Let's get into the news, shall we, John?
Yeah, right. So carrying on from the preamble, Thailand's gone and done it already.
They have. Proof of double treats now required for all visitors again, yeah?
Yep, and you need insurance. It's not optional anymore.
Remember, and call me conspiratorial here, right? Call me conspiratorial here, but remember just a few months ago when...
Hello, conspiratorial.
When many nations decided together that they were going to implement a global treatment passport.
Mm-hmm.
Are we seeing that happen?
Possibly.
Is that what we're seeing happen?
Yeah, it's not looking good, is it? I mean, the whole thing's a ridiculousness of massive proportions, particularly when we look at the next slide, right? Because the next slide's showing us that, you know, the recent wave is dropping already.
Of course it is. That's how these things work.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
That's
it's not something we didn't know before 2020. This is how these things work. Right?
Yeah. And you know what? It says, remember, around 62% of patients in hospital with, right, are mainly in for other reasons.
Well, exactly. That's exactly right.
I don't believe that. I think it's higher. I think it's more like 90% of them are in for other reasons.
I believe it's also probably much higher, but those are the statistics we're given. And even if we take those as gospel, it shows you that this is really nothing.
Yeah.
Even on those metrics, this is not. We've got to the point now where the country has become quite indifferent to it all. I will say that. You know, for a large part.
Yes and no.
Well, yes, that's what I'm getting onto. So, the people that have become indifferent, that were once end of the world, God-fearing bedwetters, are being sort of activated again, aren't they? That's what's happening here. Because those people are susceptible to all of this programming, all of this nudging, everything that we see come out of these psychological units within your governments. And they'll get comfortable, they'll get, I guess, apathetic to it all, and they'll start going along as normal once again. But the second they're triggered, they'll go into panic mode again. And I'm seeing it in the shops myself. I'm seeing increased muzzling in the shops with my own eyes. I don't know if you are, I don't know if anybody watching this is, but that's what I'm seeing.
Haven't seen it yet, but, you know, I'm sure it's coming.
Yeah, it's just, these people are programmed. They're programmed to act when told what to do. They'll fall back in line with, you know, normal society, and you won't realise they are still, quote-unquote, bedwetting until they are. But they will be.
The rise of the bedwetters.
Yes. And then we move on, I guess, to the biggest bedwetter of them all, Richland Sunak, or Rashid Sunak, or whatever you want to call him. He's given us 5 promises, hasn't he? 5 pledges, John.
Yeah, he has. And what the politicians' promises usually turn out to be?
An LOS event. A load of shite, ladies and gentlemen. But
they do.
He's pledged, Richland, our saviour, has pledged to halve inflation.
Timescale on how?
That doesn't matter, John.
I mean, I listened to his speech because so you don't have to, but I can't figure out how he's going to do it because he doesn't tell you anything.
By giving people stoic looks.
Oh, right.
Look at me.
Is that stoic? I thought it was he'd shut down again.
by giving
crash.
By
restart.
But that's what he's going to do. That's what he's just going to look inflation in half.
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm dishy.
Yeah, and he's going to grow the economy.
How? Timescale.
Yeah. He's going to reduce debt.
How? Timescale.
Timescale. And he's going to cut NHS waiting lists.
How? Timescale.
And he's going to stop small boats.
How?
Timescale. Yeah. So, well, he did say how he was going to stop small boats. That's the one thing he did tell us how he was going to do that.
What did he say? Come on, tell us.
He said he was going to introduce more legislation. Because more laws is always what you want. So there's 2 things that'll fix every problem, isn't there? Throw money at it and put in more laws.
I tell you what, we should have named this show How? Timescale?
Yeah. Yeah, possibly.
But you know, no, that won't work. That won't work.
No, it won't work. Especially when you live in a different reality from the rest of us. And it's becoming more and more apparent.
So our colleague and friend Adam says large boats only.
Yeah, well, large boats only, yeah.
Yeah, large boats only.
And I mean, the man just doesn't live in the same universe as we do.
No, he doesn't. And that's how we can move on to the next slide. Because
which is linked, remember?
In his New Year speech, Rishi Sunak, or Richland Sunak as I call him, urges us to sacrifice and hard work. What exactly does millionaire, I would say probably billionaire, Rishi and his billionaire wife, because, you know, they are married, meaning their assets are kind of joined, know about sacrifice. Remember that last year, whilst you were going poor, they built themselves a nice new leisure centre, didn't they, John?
Yes, they did.
It wasn't a leisure centre for the community.
Oh, no, it's private for in their house. It's
for Richland to have a swim, not for you.
Yes.
Although, do you think if he tries to swim, he'll drown?
He doesn't need a big pool, though. So, you've got that. You've got a bonus.
Do you think they got one of those climbing frames with a tipping bucket?
Yeah, he's standing on a box, isn't he?
Of course he is. Of course he is.
You know, but you think about it, maybe that's how he's so rich, because he can buy all his clothes out the children's sections and they don't charge VAT on children's clothes.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely
That's true.
That is true. That is true. I can't fault that. But yeah, no, I'm not going to sacrifice anything for you, Richland. I'm not going to sacrifice. Why are you pretending like it's crashed?
No, I'm not. I'm just aghast at what you're drinking. It's most unlike you.
It was cheap. I have no money.
You are cheap.
I'm broke. There's a difference.
Slut.
Look,
right,
man.
So
if you want to buy me the red stuff,
yeah, right.
Feel
so
free.
I find this. I know it's an embarrassment to your decorations now.
I know it's an embarrassment to my body.
So anyway, the whole thing's screwed up. Anyway, I found this account which appears to be almost like a Russian version of Defensive You.
Mm-hmm.
But he's funnier, right? So now, and I haven't quite confirmed this yet, but he's saying that Belarus and Crimea now have Russian nuclear weapons in their borders. So that effectively makes them a nuclear state.
Yikes.
Yes. And then, of course, America was going on about, don't threaten us, blah, 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 blah. And then he's going, hold on a minute. Russian nuclear weapons are not first strike. Russian nuclear weapons have always been retaliatory.
Yep.
There's only and he's right, because there is only one nation in the world that's ever done a first strike nuclear attack.
Oh, that was the United States, wasn't it, John?
Yes, that was the United States.
And the lucky victim of that attack was Japan.
Yes, it was.
Twice.
Yes.
Twice. They dropped Hiroshima and Nagasaki, was it not?
Yep. And they didn't need to do the second one because Japan was already in the throes of surrendering. They just wanted to test the bigger bomb.
I mean, I would say fair enough, but you know,
not fair enough.
That's how we test. That's how we test things. Is
because,
it? We just murder a whole bunch of people.
Well, and this is quite interesting because I was doing some research last night, and the theory is that for every war,
yeah.
right, 50% of the truth is lost. Because the victor writes the story, you know, truth is written by the victor.
Yeah, but I would go one further than that. I'd say it's more than 50% because look at this current war, right?
Yeah.
Where is it?
But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's give them 50%. So, but there's a war every year. There's a war every year.
Of course there is.
The truth is continually getting cut in half. And if we've been fighting for 2,000 years, after 24 years, you're actually below the Planck constant. So it's physically impossible to cut the truth any further. So everything you are being told is a lie.
The thing is, I wouldn't and do not trust any government organisation to tell me the truth, right? And like I said, once again, I take it down to the citizens. You, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't matter where you are. You could be in Ukraine, you could be in Russia, you could be in England. You are the people now with the capability, the connective capability to share what is going on in front of you. You all have a high definition camera in your pocket and the ability to live stream it pretty much everywhere. And yet we're not seeing that. And that bothers me. It bothers me.
So moving on.
Let's move on. And staying on subject, good old Frankreich, or France, is to supply Ukraine with wheeled tanks and armoured personnel carriers.
So there's a couple of things here. First of all, there's this whole argument about whether that's a tank or not. Because if it's got wheels, they're saying it's not a tank, it's a wheeled gun, right? France call it a char, which is the French word for tank, apparently. But it doesn't matter, really, does it? Because you know what's behind this?
What's that?
Well, that's a 30-year-old, 40-year-old piece of equipment.
So what you're trying to tell me is they're just trying to get rid of them.
Well, let's see the replacement.
Well, yeah. Hold on.
So they're sending them to Ukraine,
and they're keeping these,
and they're getting these. So what this does is it what would you say? It avoids the problem of having to dispose of a big stack of obsolete military equipment, doesn't it? I mean, look at this. This thing is bristling with missiles and remote-controlled guns and everything, whereas the old thing had, like, you were lucky if you had 3 guns on it.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of want one of those.
Yeah, the new one.
Yeah, I want one.
But the old one just looks like shit.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. Take all the actual ammunition, the artillery off it. I just want that vehicle. I want to drive that vehicle around and just go. There is actually a British YouTuber. I forget his name, but he's like a boxer and a strongman, and he's got a tank. He's got a proper tank, and he drives it around the roads. He drove it through the McDonald's drive-thru on YouTube. It was quite hilarious. I do like a dumb video. Eddie Hall, that's right, Eddie Hall. DW says on Twitch, he has a tank, and he drove it through the McDonald's drive-thru, and I was like, I want to do that. It's the simple things in life, isn't it, John? Like,
yeah. So I mean, they've already ordered these to replace the ones that are given to Ukraine because it was always on the cards.
I will know.
So basically, they're just getting rid of their trash.
So Beats Crate says John will buy you one for your birthday, Ben.
Where do you think John would get the money to do that?
Yeah, we don't have any money. I'll tell you what. I'll know that we've made it when I can replace every tooth in my mouth with a false one, screw in one, have that operation done, and own a paramotor trike. That's it. Then
okay.
we've made it.
Yeah.
When I can fly around on my little paramotor and then probably die.
And I can get a Harley again.
Yeah. And you could go, Ben, you're supposed to pack your reserve chute. And I go, shit, I forgot.
Don't do that base jumper thing.
Oh, God, that was bad, wasn't it?
That still stings. Anyway, Japan.
You will.
Japan has launched an official investigation.
Yeah,
An
good.
official investigation into deaths
And adverse events.
and adverse events. Yeah.
They have. And I don't see an issue with that. I think
it's sensible. If you've got an excess event, an excess death event,
Yeah.
is it not sensible to investigate the causes and make sure that you don't repeat it?
Absolutely it is.
If it's possibly a repeatable event, you know?
absolutely it is.
So I think the Japanese are being very prudent, but I'm surprised it's only the Japanese that are doing this. Maybe that just doesn't occur anywhere else. Maybe it's only been Japan that's had this problem.
Perhaps
Because
you're right.
they seem to be the only ones acting on it. So maybe we have to take, maybe we just have to take it as read that this only affects the Japanese. Anyway, Jordan B. Peterson is in a spot of bother.
Well, he's been asked to submit to reprogramming, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. That's effectively what he's been told. If you do not get reprogrammed, you will lose your job
Yeah, so Jordan B.
and
Peterson.
your livelihood, effectively, because you won't be able to practice as a psychologist.
What concerns me the most about this? What concerns me the most about this is that the people that have complained have not been harmed by Jordan Peterson in any way, shape, or form.
No,
They're mostly not even in his country. But these people, 10 or 12 people out of millions, I'd say millions of people that have been reached in one media format or another by Jordan Peterson. 10 or 12 people have complained, and his overarching body have said, you will not be allowed to be licensed and practice as a clinical psychologist, which is his profession, and he's very good at it, by the way, unless you are reprogrammed and you speak how we tell you to speak. That's terrifying.
It's just an example. I mean, that truly we live in tyranny. We don't exist in freedom anymore.
The thing is, the people doing this to him have been emboldened to do this to him, right?
Yeah.
Because, and I'm going to quote Peter Hitchens once again, the long march through the fucking institutions. These people, when they were decried, when they were called out for the absolute bad people that they are, they put on a suit and tie, they went to work, and they quietly took over institution after institution after institution. And that's why you have this woke bollocks feeding through the media. That's why you have it coming through your universities. That's why you have it coming everywhere. Because these people took decades to do what they've done. But they've got into those positions and they've co-opted those institutions. And we didn't see it coming. And this is the result.
Some of us did.
Well, yeah, some of us did. But I mean, as a society, we didn't see it coming.
No, but we never do as a society. Society never sees anything coming because society is blind. Society is the herd. And it's not called herd immunity for no reason, because basically people do act like a herd of sheep.
It's terrifying.
And speaking of a herd of sheep, right, all these people that are now jumping on the anti-bandwagon, right, that used to be the pro-bandwagon, right? Right, you know, and now they're getting fucking nasty with some of the tweets that they're putting out. Like this guy, right, Brooks, okay?
Yeah, this was very long ago. This is an old tweet.
Does it matter how long ago it was? That was his opinion then.
I
right?
remember it. I remember that happening.
He was
right?
a fucking bedwetter, right?
Yeah.
And he was right on the side of the narrative.
Yeah.
Now he's against it, right? And someone tweets out against them, some small guy, you know, like us, tweets against him about something, saying he's a bit of a a prick or whatever. Yeah. And that guy's entitled to his opinion, right? Okay, I'm not saying he is or isn't. That guy's entitled to voice his opinion in a free speech world, right? But Brooks comes back and says, "Well, I'm getting loads of media exposure. How about you?"
Well, this is...
Now, that to me says way more about Brooks than it says about the guy that's slagging him.
But do you know what? I've warned people about this lot. I call them the club, right? I've warned people about this lot. And I've travelled the same path as these people. And you know that, right? Most of them follow me. Now I've got my Twitter account back. Most of them follow me. But they are a tight-knit club, and even Abby Roberts has spoken out against them. There is a bunch of them. I call them the Talk TV GB News Collective, essentially, the club. They do the round, and all they do is say what they need to say to keep themselves propped up. Do they believe half the things they say? I don't think so, right? But I think that they say the things to keep themselves propped up, to get themselves the TV spots, to get themselves the radio spots, and things like that. And ultimately, you know, you look at people like the Together Declaration, and I don't want to slag them, but they take responsibility for things like getting vaccine passports stopped. It was nothing to do with them. It was people like me, you, and David Nolan who raised all of that awareness. And in fact, these same people called us crazy when we said there was going to be a vaccine passport. When I made that first video talking about it in May of 2020, they said, no, not going to happen, never going to happen. And then all of a sudden, they're the ones standing against it when they're telling us it just keeps me aghast.
Well, I think the word that you're looking for is arseholes. Because that's what these people are. They really are. And it says more about them that they're prepared to say anything to remain in the public spotlight. Because they need their validation, they need their vindication, they need their, 10 minutes in the sun and the spotlight, whatever. Because if without it, they are nothing. And they do not have any shred of common decency in their body.
But
I loathe and abhor them.
You know what? It's just, it is a club. It is a club that we are not in. That I'm kind of glad I'm not in, to be honest, because we were very nearly in, I must admit, right? But then I got banned, and then our traction got absolutely taken away. That is true. You can press the "That's True" button if you'd like.
That's true.
And now we're having to rebuild through you and through this. But all I see is a bunch of people that want to keep themselves propped up and enriched. That's all I see from these people. And it's unfortunate, because what are they saying that none of us have been saying for much longer? Good question.
So, you can hear the rain now?
Oh yeah, we can hear the rain. I can see
Scotland.
Natasha in the chat says Anna Brees has gone crackers. She has gone a bit crackers. I mean,
she always was.
What Anna Brees does, in my opinion, is she gatekeeps. She wants to be the gatekeeper of independent media. She wants, allegedly, the independent media, by the looks of it, to operate exactly as the mainstream media does. It's a tough one. It's an interesting one, but all we do is we do us, and they can do them, and you choose to follow, listen to, talk to who you want to. At the end of the day, unlike these people, and this includes Anna Brees, because she will tell you what to believe. We're not going to do that. We're not going to tell you what to believe. We're going to tell you, we may think you're wrong, or you may think we're wrong. But ultimately, it's down to you to look at every source of information and come to your own goddamn conclusions. And speaking of conclusions, do we think that Sol Campbell deserves a knighthood?
Well, why? He thinks he does, but why? I mean, is it because he's black? Is it?
Well, it's because he's a sportsman. He's done so much for sports.
He's a has-been footballer.
I don't think anybody deserves a knighthood. I don't think the honour system should exist. I'm just going to be complete. I don't think the royals should exist. I think we've outgrown that as a society. You seem to disagree. What's going on over there?
No, I wish we could outgrow the rain.
Well, it is what it is. Trudy says, don't start me on this again. I actually saw Trudy's tweets earlier on. And I wholeheartedly agree with her. The three dads that have raised over £1 million for suicide awareness, whose sons committed suicide, who's, you know, they deserve honours, if there is going to be honours. It deserves to go to people like them, who are trying to get suicide awareness put on the curriculum.
Well, see, this is the part. See, I don't like this raising money for causes. I really don't like it at all, regardless. Right. Because you're either living in a society that will support the people or you're not, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're living in a society where it will only support people up to a certain point, right, or it will only support some things and not others, then you know you're living in a fractured society. And I think if you start raising money, it's like, you know, cancer research, Heart Foundation, suicide awareness, mental health, all these things, all these charities that exist to basically fucking scam your money off you.
Well, yeah, because
you know,
I've always said...
Ultimately, that's what most of them are doing.
Well,
most of the money doesn't go to people that need the help.
No, it doesn't.
It goes to the people running the charities.
Yeah, of course it does. And it goes to things like their advertising budget, right? When you donate £3 a month to Oxfam, that £3 a month is not going to what you think it's going to. It's going to pay for the admin costs and the advertising budgets and all of that, and the shops. You know, when an Oxfam shop opens, their rent isn't free. That's where a lot of your money goes. But they'll tell you it's going to this, it's going to that. Oh, water aid. Your £3 a month is going to buy pipes. No, it's not. I'm sorry, but, you know, for the most part, it's not.
You send anything to Africa, you have no idea where it's going, right? Regardless of who's doing it, you have no idea, because Africa is probably one of the most corrupt continents on earth.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you were to consider a charitable donation to us via patreon.com/Chasing Dissent, or indeed Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Chasing Dissent, yes, the klaxon is broken for this show. We do need to get that fixed. Then I can tell you exactly where the money goes. I don't even need to say it, do I, John? Nah? Nah?
No, you don't need to say it. Right.
And that's you know, speaking of money, let's move on to a tweet from Barry, shall we? And we're talking about rail strikes.
Yeah, who's that? Is that guy Steve Headley?
I don't know.
He's obviously a rail striker anyway, so Barry's pointed out that standing there on the picket line in a £390 coat isn't really helping the cause about striking for pay rises. But it's not just pay rises, it's pay and conditions.
So this is from Marks and Spencer's Tailoring, right? This is from Marks and Spencer's Tailoring, this jacket. I wear this on the show quite often. How much do you think it cost me, John?
I think it cost you £1.
£1. £1.
Yeah.
£1. And do you know what? I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm fucking poor. It is what it is. I want to try and make myself look nice. You know, at the end of the day. But oh, just seen in the chat from Adam, that's Grant Mitchell.
Well, it's a bit like Phil as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Still sour-faced.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. And I mean, did you see what's his name? That Steve Headley. I don't know if I've got a clip of that actually. I'm trying to remember if I clipped it in.
Right.
Well, Steve Headley and Wolkenshot went at it on Talk TV.
Good.
He called her. He called her a Austrian gentleman's youth representative.
So he called her a Nazi?
No, he didn't call her that. He said she was a Hitler Youth representative. An advert for the Hitler Youth. I mean, these people have lost it. I mean, like this Mick Lynch guy. I mean, people are looking up to him and saying he's fantastic. Well, what's he fantastic for?
Yeah.
Being an arsehole. Because that's all he is. I mean, unions are not your friend these days. I mean, I don't actually know what they're trying to achieve. Are they trying to... Well, I do know what they're trying to achieve. They're trying to break down the Conservative government to the point where it's a guaranteed win for Labour, because unions get a lot of money from Labour governments.
They do. You know, I'm going for a drive on Sunday.
Yes.
Don't
don't get ill.
Well, no, not that.
No, don't get ill in France because the French GPs are on strike for more money.
Well, do you know what? Actually, do you know what the emergency dentist said to me when I said I was going to France? She said the French healthcare system's better than the British one. You'll be fine over there.
Oh, the French healthcare system's always been better than the British one.
Yeah.
I mean, it works.
But
right?
the
death rate is like vastly lower than ours when it comes to things like heart attacks and, general health. But that's because they treat you like real people, and they give you basically when you go and see the doctor, you get a medical every time. So they're going to pick stuff up. But the French themselves are also hypochondriacs. They will run to the doctor for the slightest thing.
Yes, they are. But also, going back to going for a drive, we're not sure whether or not they're going to be striking, and two of the people that are coming with me, or the two people that are coming with me, the two wonderful ladies that are coming with me, have to get the train down to the south coast here. And so we've made alternative arrangements for me to pick them up in London if the train guys are being arseholes. That's what we're having to do, and that's going to put me out, not just financially, but when I do long drives, it does take it out on me physically. And if I have to do that, I'll be pretty pissed off at the unions. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Anyway, senior medic urges people not to go for long runs as NHS is crippled by A&E waiting times. What is this all about?
Well, they've told people not to do specific activities like, don't exercise in case you hurt yourself.
So basically, a senior medic here is telling you to become the people in Wall-E. Have you seen Wall-E?
Yeah, I've seen Wall-E.
Right.
I mean, this is the journey. This is the journey we're on. You're going to live in your house. You're going to have a dedicated workstation so you can log in and do your work. Mm-hmm. You're never going to leave the house. Everything's going to be delivered to you. And you will become Wall-E.
Every meal in a mug.
Yeah, you'll become unable to walk.
Yep.
You'll be lucky if you can afford to breed. You won't be able to attract a mate because you're not allowed to go out. It's just you're going to be Wall-E. It's just ridiculous.
Yep.
And people are soaking it up. I mean, the council workers appear to have embraced it full time because none of them seem to be going back to work. We have a brand new, almost brand new council building here, and it's empty.
Yeah, no,
all the time now.
But it's not just there. Down here on the south coast, we have the same thing. They are still working from home. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. They, just like GPs, need to get back to work.
Everybody needs to get back to work. I mean, it's GPs that have caused this problem by not going back to work, by not seeing people. I mean, people will only take, your appointment's 3 weeks away for so long before they'll go, fuck this. I'm going to the hospital because at least they'll maybe give me drugs.
Yeah, at least either they'll maybe give me drugs or an actual doctor might be able to see me. I might have to wait 6 hours, but that is what is going on. And A&Es are so full because of the fucking GPs.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with a surfeit of disease.
No.
It's because of mismanagement of the NHS, of which GPs, although directly not a member of the NHS as such, they are paid to perform services for them. And that service has been sorely lacking. So, GPs are culpable. They're culpable.
Please,
here.
GPs. Not just for my personal sake, as somebody who does actually need you every now and again. Just get back to work.
Back. They're never coming back, mate. They're freaking loving this. They're loving this. They're doing telephone consultations. They don't need to deal with dirty, smelly, ill people, right? They can sit and have a tipple,
I'm still stuck on...
You know that alcoholism is rife amongst GPs. It's probably one of the worst professions for alcoholism. This isn't going to help them.
I'm still stuck on the new NHS guidance, right? And we don't even want to talk about my kid's school, but I'm still stuck on... I'm still stuck on the new NHS guidance that says if you're ill, don't go to a medical facility.
Yeah.
I'm stuck. And then it does go on to clarify, unless it's an emergency. But sometimes you just need intervention before it becomes an emergency.
The problem is there are times you would. You used to be able to go to your GP and get your hand stitched up if you cut it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember a time when a GP used to bring his bag of medicine to your house.
Yes, he did. He used to come
Yeah.
and see you and go, yeah, you're all right. We'll give you this, and there you go.
I remember as little as
It's
10
just-
years ago having a GP come to my house and I had a pethidine shot straight in my fucking arse and I woke up
Yeah.
the next day.
Yeah. So how can they not do that anymore? Because they get more money now than they ever had. Even proportionally, they are much better off now than they were.
Yeah.
Right? So they get more money, but they do. Everybody gets more money and does less and less and less.
Yeah.
It seems to be that everybody expects a handout these days.
Yeah.
And GPs are the same. I mean, look at what Natasha's saying there. There are 30 ambulances outside the other day. 30, right? And you probably find the patients are stuck in them until you can clear them through triage or whatever.
This
I mean,
wouldn't
30
be happening.
ambulances is just ridiculous.
This would not be happening
And
if
these
the
people,
GPs got back to work.
I'll guarantee these people shouldn't have ended up in an ambulance. They should have been seen by a GP at a much earlier stage, and they would never have had to be an ambulance.
No, you're absolutely right. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Let's go
move
to
on.
a tweet from Toby Young about the Archbishop of Canterbury. Look at his picture there. He's wearing two, John.
This guy, right? I'm not really. It's not so much the tweet. It's the fact that everything this guy stands for, and everything this guy says, and every action that he takes, screams to me, this is not the action of a Christian person.
Do you know what? I just
Right.
don't like it.
No, regardless of that, though, and regardless of whether you agree with religion or not, and regardless of what religion you agree with, everyone to their own, right?
Yep.
And I'm not coming down a side. This guy is not acting with Christian principles. Everything he does and everything he says seems to be an anathema to how a proper Christian should live.
I mean, let's take this. The Archbishop of Canterbury has rejected calls to scrap the Church of England's mermaids-linked transgender guidance, which affirms children as young as 5 as transgender and brands those who disagree transphobic. Now, you know my stance on all of this. You can.
Yeah, but this is my point isn't the tweet itself. My point is this is just the latest in any action that he's done. I mean, remember he said things like
You'll go to hell if you don't wear a mask.
Yeah, and he said
Well, maybe
things
not
like
exactly that, but
he said things like you got to think about the migrants and all that. The trouble that they've suffered in France.
he's
for
called
them
people selfish for not getting their treats.
Yeah, I mean he's just a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah, it's. I just don't like him.
No, I can't stand him.
And once again, regardless of what religion he represents, regardless of what religion you subscribe to, I'm an agnostic. I've told you that a million times. But this man, I agree with you. He's not a Christian because all he does is degrade and vilify people who he doesn't like. And it's like a bad Bond villain, really, isn't he?
Yeah, very poor.
Yeah.
And what do you mean, my eyebrows?
Your
Anyway.
eyebrows are fantastic, although this guy's eyebrows. We're moving on. Let's check this out.
No, this guy, he needs a bit of grooming, I think, there. But this guy's a bit of a hero, isn't he? Because he carried his granddad into hospital amid the ambulance shortage in Wales, right? Guy had a cardiac arrest, and no ambulance is available to respond after 83-year-old man collapsed, and he carried them to hospital. Well done, mate. Well done. Good on you.
Yeah.
Why though? Why did he have to do that? Right?
Because the GPs aren't going back to work.
Well, yeah, but why was there no ambulances? Because in the next slide, there's a fire in a hotel in Perth, which is not a big town.
No.
Right? It's not huge. And 21 fucking ambulances turn up. Where did they get 21 ambulances to turn up to a fire in a hotel in Perth?
That's quite astounding, actually, isn't it?
21
Emergency
ambulances.
services, including 21 ambulance crews, 60 firefighters, and 9 fire trucks were called to the New County Hotel in County Place That's
It doesn't matter that it was 5:10 in the morning. People get ill all sorts of
oh,
times.
of course they do.
But they were able to get 21 ambulances to that hotel at 5 o'clock in the morning. 21. How many people didn't get an ambulance that needed it?
Well, that's a very good question. That is a very good question, and once again, could be the damn reason that he had to not in this exact
Not him,
circumstances,
because this is Scotland and
but
he
could
was
be
in
the
Wales.
but could be the reason someone else has to carry their granddad into hospital.
Yeah. Pretty crazy though, isn't it?
I mean, I understand why there could be a possible need for 21 ambulance crews being a hotel.
Right, okay. But why would you send 21 ambulances when you actually don't know the situation? You'd maybe send 5 or 6 if you had them, right?
Why would
But
you lock
they
down
have
an entire
committed-
country if you don't know the situation?
Well, exactly. But they committed. What must have been the whole resources for this half the Central Belt, right, to one hotel fire. Now 3 people died, yeah, and that's shocking. But they committed a hell of a lot of resource to something that they didn't know anything about. So
You're right.
anyway,
Adam says, why not wheel him in? I found a wheelchair in the car park for my pregnant wife, and then goes on to say, I deliberately went over the cobbles a few times.
yeah, Adam's just been obtuse.
Tony Garrett
Or
says, was the
as-
hotel being used for temporary accommodation?
No, it was not. The 2 hotels in Perth that are used for that are different hotels. I checked that.
Fair enough.
Because a dog also died.
Oh. See, we always
the
go
fire.
like that. Oh, when we have this
That's because
weird-
you're English and you have a sympathy for animals. Now, you've got to remember, if it had been used for temporary accommodation, it's highly unlikely there'd be a dog in there. Don't like dogs.
Should we
Religion
move
of
on?
peace. You don't like dogs.
Should we
'cause
move
they're
on?
dirty.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
What am I looking at here, John?
Well, what you're looking at here is, this isn't... Well, right, first of all, just to give it some context, BBC or whatever comes out and goes, England recorded the first ever over 10 degrees temperature for a year or something like that, right?
Right.
Average temperature was over 10 degrees, first ever, something like that, right? Okay. Now, see that blue line?
Yeah.
That's the average temperature of the Earth globally.
Right.
Look where it is now, today. It's at one of the lowest points it's ever been in all of Earth's history.
Yeah, we certainly appear to be hitting a major low.
Yeah, we are. Right? So we're at one of the lowest points we've ever been in. Right?
Climate
And
change, baby.
look at the amount of carbon dioxide, which is the black line. It's also very low. because temperature drives carbon dioxide.
I'm sorry, John. Right? Facts, data, evidence, right? They're nothing. They pale in comparison to the word of Gettr. We must...
How dare you?
Shut up already. It's science.
Once again, I say, ladies and gentlemen, please place your hands together. Let us pray.
We bow.
Let us
to
pray.
the great God science. The science.
The science. It is always
Trademark.
right, even when it's wrong.
The science. Trademark.
Shut up already. It's science.
So yeah. What emergency? That's the crux to take away from that. But anyway.
Your rain sounds... I do quite like it. It's soothing.
Yeah.
It's
That's silly.
soothing. Adam is religiously praying to the science in every
thank you,
race, by
Adam.
the looks of it.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, well done. Well done. No discrimination here. Iranian suicide drones contain parts made
Right.
by 13 US companies.
So these Shahed drones that Russia uses against Ukraine are apparently full of US tech. So sanctions, anyone? Sanctions?
Well, against the US.
No, sanctions. Russia uses these against Ukraine, don't they? Or is it the other way around? But anyway, somebody's at it. No, I think Russia uses these. Yeah, Russia uses these against Ukraine. So where's the sanctions? It's a joke.
Tell you what else is a joke. Our next story. It's an update. It's an update.
Right, so...
And it's hashtag John was right.
He was run over by his truck, his snowplow.
So actor
right?
Jeremy Renner was run over by his own 6-ton snowplow.
Yeah, so I think what saved them, right, because apparently ran over his chest as well, right? Look at the width of the tracks.
Yeah.
So it's
weight
spread
distribution.
The weight. Yeah, that's what saved them. That's why he's not dead.
He's fucked up. Have you seen him?
Oh, yeah, but it was probably on soft snow as well, which
Yeah.
would help. Oh, I mean, he's well fucked up because apparently half his chest collapsed, so he's probably broke a stack of ribs. But that's what's definitely saved him and stopped him from dying.
He won't be shooting any bow and arrows in any Marvel projects anytime soon. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so hashtag John was right. He got run over by his own bloody snowplow.
Mm-hmm.
And he does own that. He seems like, to be fair, he seems like quite a nice guy. He just goes out and he ploughs the roads for everyone in his snowplow.
Yeah, no, it seems quite genuine because he does it every year. Helps the community out by keeping the roads clear.
I'm not going to lie to you. If I owned that, I would as well.
I'd be out in it a lot. Yeah.
I'd be having to. Oh, God, this is awesome. This is awesome.
Right, see you later, darling. I'm just off to plough.
Just off to plough the roads.
Mr. Plough.
Call Mr. Plough. That's my name. That name again is Mr. Plough.
Fair use of copyright there.
Let's move on to the British Medical Association.
So the British Medical Association appear to have a problem that doctors themselves seem to have a problem with as well, which is the inability to read the fucking room. Because look at that. Apparently the door is always open yet. We're still waiting for Steve Barclay to speak to us, right? Still fucking waiting for appointments. Still waiting for cancer checks. Still waiting for results. Still waiting for doctors to attend to us. British Medical Association. Read the room.
Read the room, baby.
Fucking unbelievable. These people are unbelievable.
Of course they are. The British
Fucking
Medical
more
Association.
money. Go to hell.
So we're going to move on to the ginger that is Prince Harry. Prince Harry claims William and Kate Middleton told him to wear that Nazi costume in Vegas. He's also made some other salacious claims in this book that's coming out next week, isn't he, John?
Right. So, they didn't tell him to wear it. He phoned them up and says, I've got a pilot's costume or a Nazi costume, and they laughed down the phone and said, definitely the Nazi costume, right? Allegedly, right? But wouldn't you want to set up your brother if you were the future king?
Yeah, but also,
Yeah.
also, in this book, the big story that's come out of The Guardian today, this book that's coming
the
out.
fight. I'm not interested.
It's not a fight. It's not a fight. It's not a fight. Apparently, William just beat him up.
Two brothers have a fight. Yeah,
Yeah,
that happens
I
all the
know.
time. Oh, hold on. Is he not the ex-Marine? William was like a gay RAF guy, wasn't he? RAF, they're gay, aren't they?
Oh, helicopter pilot, wasn't he? Yeah, helicopter pilot.
Or was it what was he? I can't remember what William was, but anyway, but he was a Marine. He was meant to be a Marine.
But do you know what? Anytime you go out to town on Halloween, wherever you are, you will see someone in a Nazi costume, right? There is usually somebody out in town dressed to the nines like that because it's not real.
I've never seen anyone walk up in a
I've
Nazi
seen it loads of times. I saw it, John. I saw at Butlins someone dressed in a Nazi costume and a white guy blacked up as Mr. T in the same night.
Oh, dodgy.
In the same night, I saw that.
Oh, and
Butlins.
remember that movie Tropic Thunder? How did Robert Downey Jr. get away with that?
I love it. I love it when he goes, "What do you mean, you people?" And then the actual black guy looks at him and goes, "What do you mean, you people?" But do you know how he got away with it? He got away with it because he should have got away with it. Just like those
he should have.
arsehole Wyan brothers should get away with white chicks because it's not real. It's acting. It's playing pretend. It's entertainment.
Right. The next one's going to offend people. I make no apology. Right.
Offend us, John. Offend us.
So first of all, always disturbs me when people pretend to be their animals. So Michael's cat tweets, "This is my cat, Churry. Churry? She's 21 years.
Yeah. So she's 21 years old.
Oh, sorry, she's 21 years old.
Yep.
Yesterday, my girlfriend yelled, 'I can't wait until the day she's dead,' because it made a mess in the litter tray, right? Today I packed everything and I'm ready to leave. What would you have done?" So, first of all, I'm astounded that a guy is putting his cat over his girlfriend.
Well,
right?
maybe she's not putting out, John.
Well, yeah, fine, but then he's just creating an excuse to leave. Just be a man and say, "I'm out, I'm gone," right? So that, first of all. Secondly, this is a classic case of parasitic brain injury. Yeah. He has been taken over by toxoplasmosis, and the cat's parasites are driving him to do everything for the cat.
Oh, I've got 4 cats.
But that's
John.
what happens with people that have cats. They get infected with toxoplasmosis, which is a parasite that does affect your brain and makes you like cats.
I've got 4 cats.
Yeah, you're a freaking prime example. Well,
I
maybe
don't
you're
like
not.
any of the little fuckers.
Yeah, but that's okay. You've obviously not been infected yet. But wait until you're about this guy's age, and he'll die a lonely, lonely man because his girlfriend is not going to take that, surely. And he will die a lonely man surrounded by cats, and his brain will be found to be gloriously infected with toxoplasmosis.
I can't.
It'll be like one of those ants that climb up to the top of a tree for the fungus to release its spore from its head.
What will this toxoplasmosis make him shove Mars bars up his arse, John?
That's a different man.
Yes, I know, but where does your brain go to have to get to our final slide?
Well, no, it's quite simple. The guy's just gone for a world record, but then found out to be a cheat because he used mini Mars bars instead of full-sized ones. And let's face it, he could have used the full-sized ones.
Is this a real story?
They're not big these days. Yeah. It's a Sunday Sport. Exclusive.
Of course it's a fucking Sunday Sport.
Look at this stadium. He looks like you on a bad day. Look at the eyes. He's obviously gutted. He's gutted that his world record of shoving Mars bars up his anus has been rejected.
Adam says he should have used Toblerone, such a cheat.
Oh, I don't know about Toblerone, especially not those big bars.
Those ones you can get in the airport.
Oh, that's going to sting in the morning.
An airport Toblerone.
Yeah, you need to put the toilet roll in the fridge for that one.
Yeah. Oh. Right. That is our list of news for the day and has brought us nicely to the hour, John.
Well, that's actually quite good because that means we've ran over the hour because we started streaming at 5:02.
Yep. And it looks like...
So maybe there's something in... all credit to you. Maybe there's something in your...
theory.
Your theory, maybe, yeah.
It looks like we are still live.
I think we are. I'm still seeing us on YouTube and we're moving about.
This is good. So if you've enjoyed it and you would like to support us, then please obviously subscribe, leave a like, share, all that good stuff. But if you can, and only if you can, please consider a monthly donation at patreon.com/Chasing Dissent, or indeed Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Chasing Dissent, so that we can keep the lights on and keep entertaining you 4 days a week. John.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for attending this episode 184 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, John, and with Ben. It's been great.
For you.
'Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.